Unmute the microphone. There we go. All right. Well, I'm hoping some people pop in because I have no idea what I'm doing. I managed to get the printer put together, and this is the printer in the last stream that was sent to me by Mr. Chris Riley of Chris's Basement. So I thought, little product placement. We showcase his logo in the background here. And then I forgot to share this. I was so excited and everything. This is the message that came along with the filament from Walter. So y'all follow Country 3D if you haven't already, or subscribe to his channel. I know he just hit 300, I think, yesterday. It's very cool. All right, so like I said, hopefully somebody shows up, because otherwise it's going to be a whole lot of me staring at this thing trying to figure out what the heck to do now. I got it put together. I got it powered on. So it powers up. I hit home all. and this is where we're at. I did heat it up and pulled the old filament out of the printer. When I first tried to pull it out, the little bit that was sticking out on this side of the extruder, I did squeeze the little thing to release it, but as soon as I went to pull on it, I gave it the least little bit of pressure, and it just snapped right off. The stuff that was, the old stuff that was in there is very, very brittle. So I disconnected the coupler here for the Bowden tube where it goes into the extruder, and once I did that, I was able to pull the rest of it out. It's a lovely shade of bright green, whatever Chris was printing with that. So yeah, this is where we're at. There's Chris. No, don't worry about the old filament, man. It was simple enough. It's really not hard to unplug that at all. And once I did, it came out easy. So I'm glad you are here, man. I can't even begin to tell you how glad I am that you are here, because this is as far as I know how to go. I've got it plugged in. It's powered on. That's all I know at this point. Everything else is going to be just trial and error. I know I have to, from videos that I've watched, I know I have to level the bed, but I don't know what the first step in that process is with this particular machine, especially. When I auto-homed it, is it normal that the nozzle sits way below the bed when it comes? The bed slid back, and then the Z-axis came down, and the nozzle sits way below the bed. Is that normal when you home it, or is there something that I didn't want to like start hitting something and have it just drive itself right into the side of the build plate? So yeah, I hope this will be fun. We're gonna play. And so I figured I might as well stream it, and then somebody else there's got to be other people out there that are. Okay, so no, that's okay. Yeah, it's. So maybe maybe these came a little loose during shipping or something, and I need to tighten the. Because I wouldn't say it's way below, but it's definitely below the surface of the bed. But the nozzle right now is literally just sitting parked in front of the bed. Just in front of. Okay, maybe I tightened that down too much, because now it is way too low. All right, so is this the part where I use the piece of paper? Hey, Derek, we're seeing if I can figure out how to print for my very first time. Well, now I've got it. Now that I tightened those front two down a little bit, I've got it where it's not quite it's not quite touching. There's a little air between there, probably too much now. Um, so this is where I need a sheet of paper. Okay. Let me see. Do I have a sheet of paper around here? Okay, hold on. I gotta go locate a piece of paper. It's amazing. Paper is not as abundant as it once was around this house. I should have had that ready before I got started on all this. Move these books out of the way. All right. So I got a sheet of notebook paper. It's paper time. So let's see here. Am I going on? There's a lot of wiggle in the carriage plate. Get that closer. So I can feel it dragging on the paper now just a little bit. Is that about right? The paper still moves freely under it, but I can feel it dragging on the paper. I wouldn't directly over the screw. I'm going to be so bad at this for a while. I know I am. That and these little wing nuts are kind of a pain to grab. Now, so do I need to disable the steppers before I move that over, or should I power the machine off? I know there's a little delay, so I'll wait for your response. I want to break it. Okay, so I should probably just go ahead and I'll just power it off, make things easier. Okay. Which I didn't notice any kind of power switch on this. Is that correct? I've just been unplugging it when I turn it off. Bed clip is going to be in the way. Oh, I got a mile to go on this one. Okay, I've unscrewed this thing to the point where it has no tension on it at all, and it's still quite a ways from the bed. Does that mean my x-axis is tilted or something? Or is it just, oh, because the bed's got a lot of play in it. Can that be tightened up? Because I think it's just the bed is literally, I mean, you can see that, how much the bed rocks. Nut on the inner wheel. Okay. Uh, I'm not seeing. Are you talking about the nuts on the? I don't know if you can see in there. The nuts on this side of the plate, because there's nothing. The nuts at the actual screws that go through the wheels screw through. Because all three of the wheels on this side of the carriage just have these little plastic like standoffs. Let me slide this forward here so I can get a better look at it. Okay, maybe I'm crazy here. Maybe I need to take the camera off the top here and move you guys in for a closer look. Let's see if I can. All right. Sorry about all the wiggling here. And I wish I had just a little more slack in that, didn't I? Hold on. There we go. So, might need to get you some more light in there. That's the inner wheel, and all I see is these little plastic spacers there. Is that where you're talking? Because that's just a round little plastic spacer. Yeah, no nut. All three of them are that way. Like I said, there's a considerable amount of wobble in the bed. Okay. All right, I'm going to put this back on top of, which monitor do I have it on? Put this back on top of the monitor. Get you guys re-aimed a little bit here. All right. So, let me grab my tool. Which this could be a problem. All the wrenches that I have are imperial and going to be too large, aren't they? Yes. All right. This is starting my day off perfect. Okay. So all of my wrenches are imperial and they're too big for those little nuts. Upgrade I can print to help with that. We have to get me printing first. Right. And I don't know if I try to just turn the screw by itself, if it'll. Well, that one turned a little bit and is not turning the nut, so maybe. Of course, I can't get to the bottom of that one. And I think that's the one we need to turn. Although, looking at it, the one up here out of the three, the one on the front and right, I mean, it doesn't seem to be connecting to the extrusion at all. It's not like touching the extrusion. Because you can spin it freely and it's just not making any contact with the extrusion at all. My dog is concerned. He thinks I'm in trouble. And I may be. Get down lower here where I can see this better. If I slide the bed all the way, that's as far as it goes that way. Sliding the bed all, no, it's that acrylic plate is underneath that screw even when it's slid all the way to either end. I would need like a one of those screwdrivers that's got the right angle end on it to reach it. Yeah, I'm having the same problem on this side. If I back it out enough to even get the bed close, there's no tension at all on that wing nut anymore. I mean, it would literally just rattle itself right off. Although that seems to be getting us closer. Loosening the screw on this corner was bringing this one closer. and then I'm making contact with the bed completely on this side. So I mean, it's like the whole bed itself is higher on this side than it is on this side. Although I don't have as much wiggle in the bed since I tightened that up. But now that I did that, I'm a mile away over here. Yeah, I reached that point again where yeah, if I back it off any more than that, there is no tension left on the wing nut. And we're not nearly close enough. So we'll go back to this corner, which, how do you keep the bed clips from getting in the way? Oh, hey, James. All right, so we're just about over that screw right now. Because you can look, when you look underneath of it, both of the springs on this side, there's a lot of load on them. And then both the springs on this side, there's no load on them at all. Hey, Scalda. Okay, that sounds like a plan. Plug it back in and auto home again. All right, plugged in. Which I gotta say, the little buttons on this are not the most responsive. Sometimes you gotta hit them 2 or 3 times to get them to register doing anything. That, and I'm still not entirely sure which buttons to hit. There we go. I forget where that is. No. Oh, position. It homed all there, but it was like the when it did, one of the stepper motors sounded like it was still trying to go when it got to the center. It didn't do that last time. But now, once again, when we homed all, the nozzle is sitting. Let's see if I can get any kind of measurement on it there. The nozzle is sitting probably I don't know, 2-3 millimeters below the surface of the bed in the front corner. No, the Z is not moving freely. Is that? But is that because I got it powered on right now, and the steppers are enabled? You cannot move it. Where do you disable steppers on this thing? Hello, Hack Monkey. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm so glad Chris is here because I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't even find anything on the menu that I'm supposed to find. Let's see. Da, 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 da. So where do I disable the steppers? Enter out of here. I wish there was a longer cable on this control box so that you could swing it around more. Let's see here. See if I can reposition printer. Camera's not going to pick it up anyway. It's too bright. So let's do this. Tighten up all the bed screws pretty tight. Try to keep them somewhat even, then auto home again. Okay. Let's do it. Because all the ones on this side, there is no load on the springs whatsoever. So yeah, the nozzle is lower than the bed on this side. Unless I tilt the actual bed physically. The springs are loaded up pretty heavy on this side, on both front and back. And now I've got it about, I would say about even. Looks like those springs have about the same load on them, roughly. All right, so we're relatively even. You've had 4 days, 19 hours, and 39 minutes of printing on this machine, Chris. And printed 929.1 meters of filament. All right. Position. Home all. Okay, I clicked home all and nothing moved. Yeah, it is road tested. You're right. That's how I know this thing should be able to print, because you've got some time on it. I should be able to get some time in on it too, unless something broke in shipping. Oh, down here on my knees. I'm getting too old to sit on my knees. Okay. Well, I never did find where to disable the steppers. All right. Oh, it says stepper disabled on the thing, and I don't remember clicking disable steppers, but it says steppers disabled. Move the X and Y by hand, and then try to rehome. Okay. So move the X, move the Y. Okay. They've been moved. I'll move them even more. All right, they've been moved. Clicky buttons. There we go. All right. Position. Home all. I'm clicking the button and it's not doing anything. There it goes. Okay. We're homed again. Now, what was weird, when I physically pulled the bed forward, I didn't move the Z-axis at all, but it cleared the nozzle. But when I look down there at eye level, it looks like it's below the bed now, again. Is it tilting when it slides back? Okay. Where is the Z end stop? The Z end stop is located right here. It's underneath this piece right here, and it is clicked down. Looks like it's held in with a screw and probably a T-nut on the other side of it. So it's towards the bottom of the Z-axis here, next to the little acrylic L bracket at the bottom. Hey, Don. It's pressed all the way flat. Should it be all the way flat like that? I mean, it's clicked all the way down. While the other end stops, where's the... Oh, there it is. The other end stops aren't flat down. The Z end stop looks like it's clicked like flat. But I never have moved in all this, we haven't moved the Z-axis at all. It's been flat down from the moment we started. And it was like that from the first time I homed it when I put it together. There's two wires, a yellow and a black one. They are connected. The connections seem firm. I don't see any kinks or splits in the wiring. There's nothing like outwardly obvious. But it was the yellow wire in particular on that. When I took it out of the box, the stuff inside had twisted to a point where it was the yellow wire was under some stress when I took it out of the box. But it seems solid now. But yeah, the Z end stop is mashed all the way down. Should I try unplugging it and turning the flex coupler on the back a couple times and raise it up a little bit and see, and then we'll home it all again and try? I'm just going to unplug it at the moment, and I'll try rolling that. As I'm rolling it up by hand, I heard it click as it unpressed. So I mean, it was pressed down past its trigger point. Because I mean, I turned it several times before it clicked as it was coming up. And in fact, it looks like the whole mount is twisted a little out of position now that I take the pressure off of it. Should I loosen that screw a little bit and see if I can't fix because it's twisted a little. Yeah, I'm thinking it must have crashed into it, and like I said, now that I lifted it up, it's I don't know if it's supposed to be sitting square and level, but it's twisted off to one side considerably, like so maybe it hit it hard and actually knocked it even out of whack. That's why I was asking if I should loosen that screw just a hair so I can twist it back flat before we try auto homing it again. Okay. All right. Straighten it up a little bit. It is now, I raised the Z up to the point where it's not engaging it at all. It's completely free from engaging it at the moment. So plug it back in and try a home all again. I'm going to bring this. Oops. Over here closer where it's easier to reach. All right, here we go. Plugging it in. Powering up. Fans blowing. The part cooling fan that you added over here is missing a couple of blades. All right. Position. See, I'm going to learn where this stuff is in no time. Or we hope. Position. Home all. And this time it didn't move, the Z didn't move at all. And that is because it came unplugged. Does it hurt anything to plug it in while it's powered on, or should I unplug it before plugging the Z motor back in? And maybe that was our problem, part of our problem all along, is the Z motor. I'm probably when I was moving it around this morning came completely unplugged. Okay, powered off. Unplugged. All right. Plug the Z motor back in. Powering back on. Position. Home all. Z is moving down. It double clicked the end stop this time and did not press it all the way down, so there is a little space on it now. Before, it smashed it all the way flat. Oh, this is a blast, man. I love tinkering with stuff though, so I like figuring this kind of stuff out. All right, let's try to level again. I still haven't reliably found where to disable the steppers in this thing. Anybody know what menu that's under in Repetier? We've got quick settings, print file, position, extruder, fan speed, SD card, debugging, configuration. there it is. Disable stepper. Stepper's disabled. All right. So we're going to slide this forward. Over the top of the screw. It's dragging on the paper, but not holding it, not pinching it. I can slide the paper underneath, and I feel it dragging. That fan shroud keeps hitting that bed clip. And then over here, I am 6 miles from Sunday over here. All right. I could just about stick my finger between. And we're in the same position where, I mean, I've lost all tension on this wing nut. This wing nut is just loose, and we're still not anywhere close to the nozzle. James, what's going on? Colin joining us as well. Watching me try to set this thing up and failing miserably. Because now with, I mean, that's as loose as I could care to make that screw without the wing nut just falling off. And we're not even close to the nozzle catching the paper, touching the paper. 3D print a 3D printer is my first print as a backup. Yeah, follow suit with Walter. Only thing is with this build volume, it would take forever to print the extrusions like he did. Okay. I just knock that off. All right. So we're adding tension to the back right. Or should I just get it as close as I can, and then we'll see if it doesn't fall into line as I get the other corners closer. From the wrong way. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. It's dragging on the paper there on this corner now. And we'll slide it over this corner, and this corner is literally like digging into the bed. Well, not like literally making a gouge in the bed, but it's firmly touching it right now. All right, there we go. And then this one, which was the first one that I managed to get right, has become too loose. There we go. Or too tight then. We'll loosen it up. Yeah. There we go. We're dragging on the paper there. All right, so we're dragging on the paper there. It says my steppers are disabled. Dragging on the paper there. Dragging on the paper there. I'm excited. I think we're getting somewhere. And dragging on the paper there, but still slides through. where the paper slightly rubs on the nozzle, passing it under all four corners now. Preheat and load some filament. Do I auto home again before doing that? All right. There's a little ant on my printer. All right, so we homed all. It's looking pretty good. All right, let's preheat it. Let's do this. Preheat PLA. We're heating up. Guess time to open Walter's gift. Yeah, there is no spool holder. I know. I was like, that's probably going to have to be one of the first things I print after I get this thing working. Which I think there's some stuff on Thingiverse that print and you replace this handle that is essentially, you know, no big deal anyway. Replace this handle just kind of like the one on the Ender 2. Angle. I have to see what's on the SD card. I haven't even done that. Chris said there's some stuff pre-sliced on here, so we'll see. I don't know if there's a benchy on there. My dog doesn't like me messing with this bag of filament here. Every card in the house has a Benchy on it. The heck? Stuffing the hole. We get. Awesome. 3D Solutech stickers. Please always use the clip from the filament. This will avoid extruder jam or clog. We want to thank you for believing in us. Now hashtag 3D Solutech on Instagram to show your prints. We will select 5 prints each week and give out a free 16 gigabyte 3D Solutech USB drive to makers. We'll see about that. Sorry, Joe. My dog's name is Joey. And a 3D, I guess this is another sticker. 3D Solutech. Looks like a Chihuahua. All right, we're at 188.8 degrees. And I don't have anything to... I don't have, like, scissors. So I guess this is the little clip they're talking about. So is this just whenever I'm not, like, the filament's not stuck in a machine or being held in my hand, that I should use this clip to prevent it from unspooling itself? All right. Well, I will just try to use this box cutter here to on the edge of my desk. This box cutter's not strong enough for that. All right. Hold on. I'm going to have to run down to the kitchen and get the kitchen scissors, I think. As long as I remember to return them, I guess. My wife will want to know what happened to the scissors. All right. I'll be right back. I'm going to get the scissors out of the kitchen. This printer will toughen me up. Let's see. Okay. Take the clip back off. Cut it at an angle. This one seems to be more natural angle. Okay, I'm doing this wrong because I can't find the hole. Oh no, it's a definite help, Chris. I will get it figured out. I will not let it beat me. Although the newest thing it's beating me with is I can't seem to get the... Still meant to find the hole. There it goes. But now it's not finding the... Hold on. Let me just do this. It's like catching on something inside the hole. Straighten it out as much as I can. Ah. It's actually grabbing something on the inside of that fitting and not pushing all the way through. Okay, you guys make this look really easy. Maybe I will too someday. But not that day is not today. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it's doing. I think it's hitting the back side of that brass fitting. And not going on into the tube. I'll try recutting it. These scissors didn't give me the cleanest point, so maybe that's... My kitchen scissors are dull. I'm going to have to buy me some of those little snips like everybody else gets included with all their Chinese printers. Yeah, a little pencil sharpener dealie. That'd be cool. Yeah, no snips and no spatula, no little paint scraper thing either. Which I don't have one of those, so when it comes time to remove things from the build plate, this could be interesting too. I thought you guys would probably have like 100 of those laying around and looking for an excuse to pass them off on somebody else. Success! We're in the Bowden tube. Heading down into the extruder. And we're squishing out old filament. Which is crazy because the stuff we're squishing out right now doesn't even look like the color of stuff I pulled out of there, Chris. It looks like it's squishing out orange filament, and there was green filament in the tube. So, all right. We have stringy stuff coming out the end. All right. Yeah, there was green in the thing, but this looked like it came out orange. Oh, later, Colin. Yeah, I understand my schedule when I'm available to do this stuff. Most people are at work in the U.S. anyway. Um, I wouldn't. No, I don't think there's glue on it, but I bought glue stick, or have glue stick, I should say. Uh, Because I have glue and paints and all sorts of stuff like that laying around here all the time because I used to dabble with a lot of making my own stuff. And Rover was asking me earlier today about getting a view of one of the trucks that I've modeled. And I said, well, the step van has really kind of become like an unofficial mascot for me. And it's because I made one out of foam board. That was one of the first like projects that I sat down and made. I've still got it. It's in bad shape now. All right, glue on that. At the end, consultant position. Hey Ben. Okay, so glue stick on the bed. Good idea. It's Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength. All right. I don't know how big of a thing we're printing here, so. And excuse me, guys, I'm going to mute the microphone for a second. I got to answer that. She's just going to keep calling. Okay, I'm back. When the wife calls, you answer. I'm like, she'll just keep calling back if I don't. Is it crucial to have all of these bed clips on there? Because I kept running into the things when I was trying to check level. This added part cooling fan kept hitting this one. Yeah, Derek. Good. Subscribing to Ben. Ben is good people. All right. And I'm going to mute my ringer as well. So next time it'll just buzz a lot. All right, so we got glue stick on the bed. We have plastic oozing out of the nozzle. We have a bed that should be relatively level. James, that's not even nice, man. Canadians are supposed to be friendly people. All right, so are we ready to select something to print? Is that where we're at now? Ready to print. All right. Well, here goes nothing. Well, hopefully here goes something. We're at 188.8 degrees. Come on, clicky button, go down there. Okay, there we go. Print file. See what's on here. We have tray.g code. I don't know what that is. We have tool rack v2. We have Luby Adelinda Dragon, which I imagine that would take a long time on this little printer. We have Cute Octo. We have MakerBot Fixed. We have size 4 14.88 millimeter G code. MakeRobot V6. Fish Topper. And either that's all we've got or it doesn't go down any farther. Or it won't go down any farther. I don't know what any of this stuff is, so. Something that will be printed, if successful, in like less than 2 hours. Because I got to leave to pick up my son from school at 1:30. Cute Octo. I'll give it a second because sometimes this thing like wants to ghost click up again after I got done. Like I guess I pressed it one too many times and it doesn't go immediately. All right, so Cute Octo. Chris says fish toppers. All right, so we'll do a quick poll of everybody watching. We doing fish toppers or Cute Octo? This will be my first ever attempt at printing. So this will be whatever I print. I won't want to stay with me forever. Oh, it timed out on selecting the print. It went back to the, okay, print file. Do this again. Cute Octo. Says printing, 0%. Crossing fingers. How long does it take to move? I just did the preheat PLA, which was 190, but it's never hit 190. Highest it's gotten is 188.8. So will it not start unless it hits 190? No, it does not have a heated bed. Is there a place to do that in settings, or am I just... I just touch it with my finger. Okay. That's not going. Will that like burn the motor up? All right, y'all. You see it? You see it here? It's moving. A little bit of stringy stuff. It's moving around, but nothing is coming out yet. There's no way that's going to work. But one leg looked like it didn't stick down. I guess I needed more glue stick. I'll let it run for a minute and see what happens. So it's being documented here, my first ever attempt to print anything. Here we go. And it's a cute octo. That's what we're doing. Now, if this starts failing spectacularly, do I just pull the plug? Or is there some place that I go to hit cancel? Which it looks like it made a little bit of a mess out of one leg. It just didn't, that first little bit of it didn't stick. Where are these coming from? There's another ant. A little black ant. SD card menu. Do you think that was it? My nozzle just wasn't primed well enough? I'm gonna let it keep going for a second because, secondly, I don't know how I'll get just one layer off the bed, or if it'll just peel right up because it's not a heated bed. I don't know. It's finally it's coming back to fill in that one leg that the little outer perimeter didn't really stick down. So we'll see if it corrects itself at all there. It's not a good first layer by any means. Bring you guys closer. You see, it will focus. That leg there is kind of a mess. And there's a little blob right here. It's a little bit of a mess too. Yeah, it's only that one part of the first layer on that one leg that looks real rough, and then it's got a couple little other minor hiccups, but I think in general it looks like it's mostly sticking down okay. I'm just holding the camera by hand here, so it's a little wiggly. I apologize. Thank you, James, Sonic Alchemy James. We were talking about this today. There are so many Jameses, Joes, and Rons and Mikes in 3D printing. And then, then there's Joe Mike, who's both a Joe and a Mike. I can hear that fan shroud clipping a couple of the spots that raised up a little bit as they go by. And I got to keep an eye on my roll of filament over here because with no spool holder, it was starting to get tense, and I just now noticed it. We'll start having under extrusion because it's not moving. All right, put you back on top of my monitor here. I will use a skirt, Jesse. I did not slice any of this stuff. This is stuff that was pre-sliced on the SD card that was included. With the printer. Maybe I should just take... Yeah, I will have to print me a spool holder and babysit it the whole time it prints the spool holder. I even thought about doing something I seen somebody else do, and just stopping by the hardware store and getting a little PVC piping and putting myself together something real quick that would make a makeshift spool holder. That leg that it didn't print the outer part of very well, I probably didn't get enough glue in that spot, is peeling up just a little bit, but it still seems to be passing over it okay. So yeah, we're watching my very first ever, as someone who comes back and watches this later, my very first ever attempt at a 3D print, and I'm excited. Regardless of how it comes out, I'm excited. Just because the possibilities are truly endless. And thank you again, Chris, for sending this to me, giving me the means to even start down this path, and and I would say, all things considered, the fact that we're printing this quickly was quicker than I expected. Yeah, I needed. I didn't put enough glue stick on the build plate because I had no idea how large of a thing I would be printing to get started, and so the outer edges didn't get any glue stick put down, and so I'm getting a little bit of curl up from the tips of the tentacles from this one and this one. The very ends of them are curling up a little bit. Yeah, Chris, I thought it would take a lot longer to actually start making something. That's why I said, regardless of how successful this first print is, this is amazing to me. So even if it turns out to be ugly, I will keep it and cherish it forever. Yeah, all the other legs seem to be sticking down pretty good. Just these two, there's a very, very minor gap where they're popping up just a little bit. But I don't know if, as more layers go on top, as long as the rest of it holds adhesion, if we will be okay. It's just the bottom little bit of the bottom little bit of the model won't look that good. My tentacle tips have curled. Help! Absolutely. Since our two James is here, I have to original James. That's what we were calling print and play James in one of the other streams. Original James. Absolutely. The the 3D printing community is amazing and as a whole, but just above and beyond um, what what Chris has done for me here, and Walter, who supplied the filament. So yes, everybody, my very first print and every print I do with this printer is sponsored by Chris Riley of Chris's Basement, and Walter of Country 3D will be the sponsor of every print that comes off of this roll right here. So anybody watching this in the future that isn't already subbed to Chris or subbed to Walter, do a search for Chris Riley, Chris's Basement, sub to him. Do a search for Country 3D, which is Walter, and it's Country Kuntry, and sub to him as well. And again, that get it on camera here. There you go, Country 3D. There's a note included with the filament, which was shipped directly from Amazon. Sorry if I'm not watching chat as closely as I should. I keep staring in amazement at this print, at this thing that is being created right before my very eyes. I know for you guys, this is all commonplace for you. I mean, you guys are used to it at this point. And seeing it in video versus seeing it in person, it's two totally different experiences. And I know there's going to be a lot more to come for me. I'm excited. What I really can't wait to do is start printing some of the stuff that I've designed. But what's going to happen before that is I am going to have to set up a slicer profile for this thing. And Kira. Uh-oh. What's that noise? I don't like that noise. Like the whole bed rocked back and forth a little bit and there was some clicking. I don't see what caused it. And it doesn't seem like it affected the layer that was going down at the time either. Right now it looks like a bad Chinese throwing star that is missing the tip of one of its blades. My biggest concern right now is I think I'm going to run into the time that I have to leave to go pick up my son before this is done. Yes, Don, it's printing. And aside from a couple of the octopus's legs peeling off the bed a little bit, and one leg not getting the outer perimeter as good as it should, we're doing okay so far. So we have two tentacles curled up a little. And the tentacle that was missing a little bit of its end doesn't seem to look as bad as it did. So yeah, I'll just have to remember to hold the fan for a couple seconds with my finger and not let it spin to get it to start. Because it just does not want to fully reach 190. Yes, Don, I need a spool holder. I do. I will have to print one of those, I think. Oh. Well, that's the problem we're getting right there. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop this. Because okay, I clicked stop. And I'll show you guys what happened. That leg that curled up, actually jammed up into, you can see that, jammed up into the shroud there for the added part cooling fan. It popped off the bed enough that grabbed it and it pulled it up in. So I'm going to disable the steppers real quick here. Lift up the Z a little bit. Slide. It jammed it up in there good. There we go. So yeah, it grabbed that leg when it pried it up off of there and actually pulled it up into the fan shroud and started chewing it up. So there we go. My first ever print, my first ever failed print. All because that leg right there did not stick. But before that, I think it was going okay. Not too bad. In there close and see if it'll focus on this. See my first layer, which doesn't look great, but all in all, it doesn't look horrible. So I may not get to finish this today, but or just because I gotta leave in an hour and 15 minutes. But looky there, we have something, and I will keep it. I will keep it, even though it's a failure. I'm going to keep this. Yes, more glue. Definitely more glue. Which I got a big old glue stick. So that was part of the problem. Was I only put glue in the center, and I only put enough glue for a smaller part. I did not realize this thing was going to be as large as it was. But now we are all glued up. Bed clips reinstalled. All right. So file in there, just a couple of test rings. And you're right, failure is a learning experience. But this gives me so much, what this failure here represents and I know this is going to sound cheesy as it can be, it represents hope. It represents the fact that it's going to be possible for me to make things. Because even though this is a failed thing, it's not a total failure because it's a physical object that did not exist just a few minutes ago, and it's in my hand. Like I said, now it looks like a badly made Chinese throwing star. That's what it looks like. Yeah, surprisingly, I just can't get this camera to focus on this well. I'll have to take a better picture of it with like my cell phone and post it on Twitter, which Chris won't be able to see because Chris doesn't have Twitter. We need Chris to get Twitter. All right. But yeah, this was a side that was on the build plate. And I mean, you can see there's some glue stick residue there, but there's no glue stick residue up here where it popped off. And when it popped off, it jammed up in that fan shroud, and the fan shroud chewed it all up. The fan in there chewed it all up because it actually jammed it up inside the fan shroud. Chris will cave to the pressure eventually. We'll get to him. We will. Chris needs Twitter. Where did... Oh. And I had this leaning up earlier on the box because I can't promote Chris's basement enough. I will prominently display that every chance I get. All right, well, now that I've made my first print, I guess the next thing will be making my first successful print. Said there's something on here that has just some test readings. So we will go... If I can get the little clicky things to do anything for me here. Go into quick settings, home all. And it double clicks the Z-stop. Print file. All right, Chris, so we got tray.gcode, tool_rack_v2 G-code. I know what Luby Adelinda is. I know what Qdocto is. MakerBot fixed. Don't know what that is. Size _4_14.88 millimeter. Is that it? And there's Fish Topper, MakeRobot V6, and that's it. So I'm guessing size _4_14.88 millimeter is the test. Okay. Hold on, it's even... It says printing. Okay. We're heating up. So yeah, you're right. That is definitely blowing on the nozzle. I'm preventing it from starting. There it goes. So it's printing some circles. And now I drew a line around the circles. Hi, Mike Whaley. We had my first print. First print and first failure. But I will keep it forever because it's the first. So after we get my first successful print, then it'll be setting up, trying to set up Cura and figuring out how to slice my own stuff and give it a whirl. And I'll probably have to live stream that too because I'll probably have to ask questions from you guys who know what you're doing. I know this part isn't real exciting, but you guys are used to this part. At this point, I need to go to the restroom, and I'm almost afraid to walk away from it and do that after the way that this one failed. Because it really jammed things up good when it did. I know it gets brittle over time, but while it's fresh like this, PLA is a lot more flexible than I expected it to be. This print takes up even more of the print bed than the octopus did. Which looks like one of the circles towards the middle is having some adhesion issues. And I know I put glue stick there. It might just be a slight warp in the build surface. Besides, I guess you're not officially in the 3D printing community until you've had your first failure, right? Not just your first print, but your first failure. Yeah, Don, I hope they get that sorted out for you, man. That's just reading that 200 euros. That's a lot of money, man. You could buy a printer for what they're wanting to charge you for the shipping. And especially after it was UPS's fault that the printer that you got was broken in the first place. Now this, at least I had some idea what I was printing and what it would look like when it got somewhere. This that's printing now, I have no idea what to expect it to start doing. It's just making circles, and it made a border around the circles. I don't know if it. I guess at some point does anything like start bridging together or anything like that, Chris, or we just is it just printing circles? The rings are doing okay. It seems like the second one over from the left on the second row is having some adhesion issues. All the others look pretty good, but yep, that one just actually just now completely popped off the build plate. We're going to stop print because that one popped off the build plate. So you just pull these clips off and pull the whole thing off. So is this going to give me some idea of what? Because I glue sticked the whole thing this time. So here it's facing the camera like it was facing the front of the printer. This ring popped off completely. That one's still solid. That one's still solid, still solid, still solid, 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 solid. So that ring right there just completely popped off the build plate. And there was glue stick there. Matter of fact, you can see glue stick residue on the back. Is that perhaps just a spot that's a little bit too far away from the nozzle? Go through and try to level it again. Yeah, it looked like that was the first one that it started to lay down. Is that just a under extrusion at the beginning again? Yeah, I definitely plan to use a skirt. It's funny, it printed something that looked like it looked like an outline around all the rings after it had already printed the rings. It printed that around the rings after it printed the first layer of the rings. The nozzle was it cold? I think the nozzle was cold. Now I got these little fun little rings. Well, and I don't know how much difference that would make in this printer since it doesn't have a heated bed. I could see where the heated bed would change the bed leveling process, or I guess technically bed tramming process, significantly, because you would have expansion, a lot more expansion, I would think, in the bed. But what I don't know anything really. I don't know anything. If Chris hadn't showed up in the stream to get me on the right path, I'd still be sitting here trying to figure out how to level the bed in the first place. So Chris is probably better to answer that, or James, somebody that has a lot more experience with this stuff than I do. Which this has, I don't know, it's not like residue, but it is rough on this side. I assume it's supposed to be that way. The other side of it is smooth and kind of glossy. When I lay it on my desk, though, it's as level as my desk is. Now, is this the build surface that came with the printer? It's almost like it's fiberglass kind of stuff. Well, and because it's not like totally a smooth surface anymore, would it be beneficial to like wash it and give it a light sanding again? Because I could certainly do that. Because it's got some bumps and ridges as you run your fingers across it that you can definitely feel. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Is the dried old glue and stuff might be making some uneven spots that might actually be hurting adhesion. And if I gave it a little wash and maybe a light scuffing with a Scotch-Brite pad or something, and uh, and then re-leveled. All right, well, I've got less than an hour before I got to go pick my son up from school, and I haven't ate any lunch yet today. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up for now. But we're on the right path. We're moving in the right direction, and I will have some more time for this tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll probably start trying to print something while Walter's doing his morning coffee. I wanted to wait until Walter was done with his stream before I started in on this process. And then Walter got done with his stream, and I realized, well, crap, I've been sitting here watching Walter's stream, and I haven't set up any tables or anything. And the printer is sitting in a spot where I can't get it on camera. I was like, so I real quickly went to the garage and grabbed a couple of the folding table type tables we've got and set them up and threw some tablecloths on them and got my lighting set up and fired this up. And thank goodness Chris popped in very early. Otherwise, it might have been a very, very boring beginning of the stream and me just staring at the printer going, what do I do with you now? So now I have an idea. I know how to disable the steppers and take them to the corners of the bed and turn the screws and do the paper test and preheat and put filament in and all that stuff. So all of these things are brand new things for me, and I learned it all today. And I learned it, and not just Chris joining, but everybody else that joined in and chimed in and helped as well. This is awesome. So I learned so many things, and I look forward to my first successful print. I've had 2 failed prints now, but I know I'll get there. I know I'll get it figured out, and then once I do, I'll be printing my own stuff. Yes, Colin, absolutely. It's a lot to sink in at first. I was a bit overwhelmed when I first fired it up today. I was like, the only thing I've done with this is put it together, which I wasn't even sure 100% sure I did that right. I put it back together and I powered it up, and while watching Walter's morning coffee, I did the preheat PLA on it and yanked the old filament out that was still in the Bowden tube. And I was like, okay, well, that's about as far as I can get without help. So thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Chris, for the printer and the advice and the guidance to get me started in all this. And yeah, hopefully I make my first successful print tomorrow, because I got to pick my son up from school at 1:30. I got to get something to eat. I got to pick my son up from school at 1:30, and then I got to leave for work tonight at 4. But tomorrow I will get my son off the door and off to school, and I will have until about noon to tinker and try to get my first good print. What I'll probably do after I get my son from school today is I would probably go wash that build plate and give it a little scuff with a Scotch-Brite pad and re-level the bed, and that way I'll have it all set up and ready to go for tomorrow. So all I'm literally doing is preheating and giving it a whirl. So until tomorrow, we will try it again. And thank you guys very much. We'll catch you all next time.